Mama says that I never mind her. Got no brains, I'm insane. The teacher says that I'm one big pain. I'm like a laser, six-string razor. I got a mouth like an alligator. I want it louder, more power. Gonna rock it till it strikes the hour. Bang your head. Metal helmet drive you mad. Bang your head. Metal helmet drive you mad. Bang your
Oh, crazy. Oh, I don't even know, but I hit this button here, and it's basically just sent phantom electricity to my microphone, which absolutely makes no freaking sense. But we're back. We're live. Everything's great. What's up, guys? Tim Zabriskie here, back at it again with the brand new vid. Oh, sounds like I'm coming in hot. Why am I coming in so hot? Am I just excited? But we got a great show for you here today. It's WWE Super Showdown. Is that the name of this pay-per-view? Whoever named this thing is a knucklehead. But back with me as always is the one, the only professional wrestling president. I can't even talk today, Phil. What is going on with me today here? I literally have no idea. Phil, are you there?
I'm here. Oh, there goes the box went bye-bye.
We fixed the box. We got rid of all of that.
Look at my face.
Look how pretty that face is right there. What's going on, man? You had a little bit of a freak out this morning when you were driving home when you were live streaming on your own channel. What's going on today?
Things have been weird. So to put into context, I live and work near the Washington D.C. area.
Right.
But my office is on the western side of the outskirts of DC, and I live to the southeast of DC. Without traffic, I can get there in an hour and 15 minutes. With traffic, like it did this afternoon, took me about 2.5 hours to get home.
That's a long freaking time. To put it in perspective, Phil, guess how long my drive home is?
You just like sort of roll out of bed?
6 minutes, Phil. 6 freaking minutes. Oh, here we go. That's the one. That's the one that we wanted here today, right? Hey, what'd you think about that song that I just played? With the graphics and everything like that.
Two, three. I don't have more than 2 thumbs, but 2 thumbs up.
Do you know what that's from?
No.
No, me neither. But I when I saw this, because I was trying to find a good video graphic to introduce today's show with, and I started looking at, like, well, you know, what about like superstars, right? The superstars work, and I started looking at old video intros for superstars. And by the way, Legends, the video game, Phil, I know beforehand you were like, you saw some of it and you were like, what is that, like 2008? No, that was Legends of Wrestling.
Legends of Wrestling, yeah.
Showdown. Showdown, Legends of Wrestling by Acclaim, which I don't know. If I was in the WWE, that would have salted me up when that game first came out. But going back to that song, look how sweet this video quality is from the SummerSlam the Superstars 1994 intro video. Check this thing out.
On the heels of WrestleMania 10, the World Wrestling Federation blasts off to a new decade.
Not a bad intro.
Not at all, right? So if you ask me, I would much rather get that than any of these, like, this crap that we get today.
Absolutely. It's funny because I was thinking more recently about, I remember video games as a teenager that were doing like inserts of live action stuff with then you had gameplay and then back to the live action. And I was like, I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
I know, they're trying to up the point of CGI and, graphics on video games to be the point that it looks so super realistic, but it's still not.
Right.
So do the live action inserts.
Well, that's not from the video game. That's from the Saturday morning, 11 a.m. television show.
Oh, I thought you were saying that was the intro to like the video game.
No. I definitely was like looking. I was like Superstars, maybe playing some intro like that, because I was gonna take at the very end where it says Superstars and just putting like the logo for Super Showdown, but I don't know. Then I realized that there was Showdown Legends of Wrestling, so that's why and then I took the Superman, just went with it. But speaking of video games though, and I'm glad that you brought this up. WWE 2K19 comes out. I think it's tomorrow, right?
Or at least the pre-sale ones do.
Yeah, like if you pay the if you pre-order it, you can pick it up at or you can start playing it tomorrow. But are you gonna get the game?
Probably not until it goes for super cheap on like Xbox Live or something.
Yeah, because you know what? This game is bullshit to me. And I'm gonna put it right out there like that, because the whole thing with this game is that it's identical to last year's game, and this is the first year that I'm not actually pre-ordering it. And I know that some of the fanboys that watch our show, they're gonna turn around and say, yeah, well, they redid this mode. For me, what I really care about when it comes to these wrestling games is the roster, and by the looks of things, they got rid of all the good guys, and they didn't even they took out some people in the game that are still on the roster. As far as Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa's not even in the game, and he is the NXT heavyweight champion right now.
Well, I'm sure they're going to do something like a downloadable NXT patch.
They're not, because they've already announced all the downloadable stuff, and he's not in that.
That's kind of super weird.
It's extremely weird, and it literally makes absolutely no sense. So I think that I'm with you in the sense that I will probably get the game, because the changes that they did make and the upgrades that they did make as far as Hell in a Cell and the cage match, I'm actually really excited, because this is the first time in probably like 14, 15 years that they updated the cage match. Like, you can actually like be on the cage and hitting people, and there's mini games and stuff like that. This is the first time. Now, like, to those of you that have subscribed to the channel, or those of you that are watching this for the very first time, I did a poll last week saying, which game are you more excited about? WWE 2K19 or Red Dead Redemption, right? And most people, and I knew this was going to happen, it was close though, but most people ended up going with Red Dead Redemption, because this is actually technically the very first game that Rockstar has built specifically for the PlayStation 4, and it comes out at the end of this month. But have you seen any of the trailers for this game?
Very few. I feel like weird because I do feel like I've seen more online presence for Red Dead Redemption that's coming out, and I don't feel like I've seen a lot of a spread of 2K19 other than during wrestling broadcasts.
Right, and the whole reason for that was because I just feel that they don't have the confidence in the game. They're not feeling the game as much as they were last year. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. This is just my opinion, obviously, but you're right. Like, at least last year, like, even on the internet, when I'd be watching a YouTube video, and because they track you in the sense of where they know I watch a lot of wrestling stuff, I get a lot of those ads. But I feel like this year I haven't even really gotten a lot of them.
Right, I agree. I think, certainly there's that aspect of know where your market is, okay, so let's do the commercials during when wrestling's on. That makes just logical sense.
And it's their own game, so, but yeah.
Right. And so what's the largest impact with the minimal cost? Every business kind of wants to look at that model. At the same time, though, they've added things inside of the game. My understanding is the gameplay is no different. The controls are exactly the same. The way you control everybody is exactly the same. And I'll be honest, I didn't like the gameplay of 2K18. I thought some of the elements were cool. I thought some of the storyline elements were interesting. I hated the control system. I'm like sitting there like I remember as a kid it felt like button mashing. This felt like button mashing but doing nothing as a result.
Right.
And to the point that I remember there were parts in the game where they were like, "Oh, purposefully we made it so you couldn't win certain segments to advance your storyline." I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting in one respect, but ridiculously frustrating when you're going into it not knowing that was the setup.
Yeah, and I know that because I'm with you as far as the button mashing and everything like that. If you do go to the options, though, because I know that with the submission, if you were like to move the joystick, you can actually turn it into button mashing from there. Because that's clearly what I did. Because I got to do it. But at the same time, it's like I think that this is going to be the first year that I'm not going to buy it day one. It just doesn't make sense to me. At this point, because A, I'm planning a wedding, so B, I'm going to allocate my funds elsewhere. But I am allowed to buy one game day one, and I'm going to spend $100 on Red Dead because I want all that sweet gear that I'm going to end up getting in that game. But
makes total sense. And
I'll just keep playing 2K18, and I don't feel like I'm going to be alone in that sense. So let me know in the comments down below. If you're going to be picking up 2K18 day one, or if you're going to wait, or I meant 2K19. If you're going to be picking up 2K19 day one as well. Now, the big show, the Super Show, which is probably the 10th biggest pay-per-view of the year so far. Every single one, man. Every one. It's like the most.
I think on here I talked about, what if, because now they've inundated us with so many network specials and pay-per-views that now the WWE is going to move to this model of really having these big quarterly style, super huge events like they used to do when we were kids, where you had, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania. What am I forgetting? Maybe King of the Ring, sort of these sort of quarterly tent poles. Well, now it feels like we're going to get the standard ones, except for WrestleMania. We'll still have Royal Rumble. That's going to be trumped by Super Royal Rumble. And then Super
You mean
Showdown.
The greatest Royal Rumble? Listen,
greatest Royal Rumble. Sorry, not Super Royal
Get your
Rumble.
Shit together, all right?
I'm so confused because in my brain, I wanted to go back and to watch this, and I have not yet. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Scooby-Doo saves WrestleMania, or Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery. In that cartoon movie that I just watched for the first time like 5 months ago.
Did you watch it on Netflix?
I think it might have been on demand on Xfinity. They never once in the process of the movie, except for maybe during the video game, never actually used the word WrestleMania.
Huh.
But it's a WrestleMania mystery, and I think they named the show either Super Slam or Super Show or Super. I don't think they called it Super Slam. Now I think it was Super Show.
Wait, so is this? So you're telling me that this pay-per-view here, as I've squeaked twice now. All right, let's keep a squeak record for down below. And if you're watching this with us, definitely let me keep a record. We're up to 2. But are you telling me that this pay-per-view here is to promote a DVD that came out 5 to 10 years ago?
There you go. Well, I think they are going to do a part 2 very soon.
Oh.
But they're going to still call it the WrestleMania Mystery.
Yeah, I guess,
but
right?
In the course of the movie, not ever use the word WrestleMania. It's weird to me. Why would you do it that way?
I don't know. One of them's the greatest. One of them's the Super Showdown. And not to mention, like I just all I've noticed for the buildup of this show has been around one match, obviously, because they've been plugging this since SummerSlam, right? And we'll get to that one because we're gonna call that one last, all right? But what else is on this show?
So we do have for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, Becky Lynch, the current reigning Queen of SmackDown, versus Charlotte Flair.
Fucking awesome! I've literally fallen in love with Becky Lynch as soon as she Frankie calls this Mystery Mania. By the way, I literally love everything that our girl Becky Lynch here is doing, and I just hope that they just keep the momentum up with her. I did see that she came out with her own poster for the event, and I as a guy that makes posters for his own podcast, yeah, I can appreciate that. And I don't know, who do you have going into this one?
I really want to go for Becky Lynch. Give her a decent run. Make it a true challenge. Make it that Charlotte can't just walk in the door and be like, "Oh, it's mine again." Not that, and I think they've done this story justice so far. That really they've let Becky Lynch kind of run with it. That if there was a moment they were going to pull the rug out from under Becky, it was going to be the last pay-per-view. So I'm really satisfied with where they're going, and I really hope they maintain it.
Yeah, so we're both in agreement. We're going to keep it on Becky here. Do you have a pen and paper? I want us to write this down so that we can have a score chart as this pay-per-view goes on. Did you see what time this pay-per-view airs here on the East Coast, by the way?
I think they were saying 5 a.m. on the East Coast.
4 fucking a.m. And this is the reason why I say it like that, is because my thing is that they better not be sending me fucking banner notifications at 4 a.m. because Charlotte Flair once again beat Becky Lynch. I'm going to be super pissed. I'm just letting everybody know right now. I'm going to be salty as hell. So I understand how time zones work and time differences and everything like that. Just don't give me that banner notification until at least, I don't know, 8 a.m.? Is that reasonable? Is that a reasonable request, WWE? Because you know that they're going to do it.
But you can watch it anytime on demand on the WWE network.
I don't stay up till 5 anymore. My days of going to the bars are over. That's
right.
it. That's it for me.
I think the bigger problem, hopefully they'll pull off those notifications that come through your WWE app on your phone. But what might happen is, of course, we're going to be social media inundated. So fans from Australia, fans who are up at 4 a.m, who are going to start watching it, are going to be posting results.
Exactly.
Screen captures, all sorts of stuff, including WWE social media. So,
exactly.
We're going to be a little bit more careful than normal.
Which makes me go into my little rant about how, we are all smart fans, right? And we all have the internet. Everything that, what's his name is, I'm going to go with Cornette because of that time he called me.
My brain hurts now.
Because of that time he called me, I'm going to go back to him where he's like, he hates all of us because we all know the internet and we all know too much and we're too fucking smart and all that shit. I hate Jim Cornette. So. This is why the WWE's response of hey, you guys are gonna ruin everything and break all of our spoilers. Well, then fine. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna just do it live. We're gonna do it live right at fucking 4 a.m. your time. Because you know why? Fuck you. That's why.
Right. I mean, I lucked out. I went to a wedding during greatest Royal Rumble ever in history of. It wasn't because there was a bigger one in Japan that the WWE did, but that's a whole other conversation. And I happened to be prepping for somebody's wedding, so while I'm in their kitchen helping them, we had it on laptop, like watching. And I was like, "What if I was at work right now?"
Yeah.
Like I totally while I'm in my office, I have my Facebook up in the background. Like if I'm working on something, it'll just be on part of a screen.
Yeah.
But like I'll totally get feeds of what's happening if I wasn't watching it in that moment. So
yeah, and it's funny too because I remember a few months ago, like right after WrestleMania, there was something on WrestleMania that I wanted to see again, and I was at work, and I can't get on Facebook, I can't get on YouTube, pretty typical stuff for the type of work that I'm in. But for some reason, network.wwe.com, not a problem. Was able to get to it, and I have a dual monitor, and I was like, this is ridiculous right now. You know what I mean? But
very nice,
yes. So getting back into the card, what is the next match?
Asuka and Naomi versus the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce.
Man, Asuka. Let's talk about Asuka and how they have fucking ruined that girl completely. Just completely broke that girl down. Went from being the strongest character that they had to who is she now? You know what I mean? Like I completely agreed with her losing to Charlotte because that was a great moment, right? That was a completely fantastic moment at WrestleMania, right? But what has she done since? I mean, wow, that really just made me sound like Brett. But basically, you having issues? I'll pull back to me. What has Asuka done since losing to Charlotte? Like she then got a championship match against Carmella. I'm pretty certain it was like immediately after.
Right.
But
Carmella.
But still, she should have went over in that match. Is it Nakamura's girlfriend, Frankie? Is that a shoot? Is that a real thing? Is Asuka and Nakamura getting together, or is he just being a little?
The power of the internet compels you. Let me see what I can find.
Is he being a little bit of racist, or kind of where we're going with that? So it's Asuka and who?
Asuka and Naomi.
Who how are you feeling with this whole raver gimmick after the 4th year? How do you feel about that gimmick?
I mean, it is what it is. It's your trademark. Go for it. Live it up. Live the life. Do
you think that it needs, at this point, it needs to progress a little bit?
That's up to her and the WWE. If they feel they're still getting some juice from that squeeze, go for it.
I've never heard that expression, but I like it.
I mean, think about it. Like, okay, John Cena we thought was boring 12 years ago, and they just kept it because it was a great money draw. Little kids were so appealed by it. So is that the same with Naomi? It's flashy, it's colorful. Kids will like it. And I'm not saying that that's what the draw is for Naomi. I'm just saying, like, if everyone's comfortable with it working, or if it is still working, go for it.
Does she still do those stupid fucking kicks that I hate?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I
speaking of slightly racist.
Yeah, exactly. It's full circle, Frankie. You're not the only one. So it's them versus it's not the Riot Squad, it's the other ones, right? What are they called?
The Iconics.
Those are the two brunette girls, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So who do you see going over in this one then?
I'm really gonna try to say I hope it's Asuka and Naomi.
But do you agree with what I'm saying? How they've completely buried this girl in the past 6 months?
Yes. Oh, totally. I think the only way to recover her, really, to bring her back to that level is she goes away, she comes back, and she takes on almost like a Finn Balor-esque, demon-esque kind of presence, and you can go that route.
That would be very interesting if she came out with like face paint and maybe even did like a little Gangrel blood spew, right? Something sweet like that. What if she just turns heel on Naomi here, and then that'll set her up for a heel run and then down the road that'll get her back to Charlotte. There it is. We figured it out. She's gonna turn heel here, and then she's gonna start a heel run, which will bring her back to Charlotte at WrestleMania and get her revenge.
Well, the two kind of interesting things that are happening on this is, well, one, in this match, the Iconics are both Australian. Guess where they're at? Australia. So they're going to have some hometown advantage to this. Yeah. Asuka has, a very strong international appeal. There's a huge connection of talent between Australia and Japan because of their geography. There's also another, and we'll get to this later, another female tag match on this show. And one of the things about heading into the announcement for Evolution was people kind of knew that was in the ether. Was that really going to be the announcement, or were they also going to announce the possibility of a women's tag team title? And so I'm wondering if they're also using this as an opportunity to test the waters out, to say like, okay, is this something that could really thrive and have a following? And with two women's tag matches on this event, I really feel like they're putting their foot more in that water of saying like, let's try this out and let's see if this could really go.
Yeah, I agree with you in saying that, but my question here is, do you think that the Iconics have enough of a what's the word I'm looking for? Do they have enough of a backing to where the hometown heat that we'll use here? Do you think that they could get enough of that? It really depends on the announcer, and if the announcer's like, from blah 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 Australia, compared to if like, for me, if Jim Duggan was up here and they didn't even have to say Glens Falls, and all of a sudden everyone's just like shitting their pants because that's basically the way it works. You say Glens Falls, New York? Oh my god! Yeah, dude, I went to a side banter here, but I went to a comedy show where Jim Duggan was doing in Glens Falls, right? Mm-hmm. And it was actually pretty hilarious how people that went to high school with him were showing up at this thing and talking to him, and I guess he had some crazy nickname. I don't even remember anything like that. But these people here were going ape shit, and he obviously was all about it. I have a few sweet Jim Duggan stories. One actually that ties into a wedding. I don't know if you want to hear that one now or if you want me to wait till another time. But do you know who put that show on? That comedy show?
No, who?
It's the same guy that actually is putting on the Pro Wrestle Fest.
The following announcement has been paid for by...
Remember that Pro Wrestle Fest I was telling you about last time?
I love the fact that there's Pro Wrestle Fest.
Pro Wrestle Fest is fantastic. So if you guys don't know about Pro Wrestle Fest, basically it's being dubbed as the biggest NWO reunion ever. So basically, if you look at the roster here, right? So freaking look at how fantastic is this that the Disciple's going to be there. Dude, I always thought the Disciple was sweet, but basically they have everyone. Now, this is everyone. If you go to Pro Wrestle Fest right onto the on the Facebook here, you can basically see everyone that's been announced so far, and there's two names, right? Two names here that have yet to be announced. So make sure you follow at Pro Wrestle Fest and definitely buy your tickets because they went on sale this past Sunday. And look at all these people that you can meet. Have you ever wanted to meet Conan, Phil? Have you ever wanted to meet him?
Yes.
Yes? Have you ever wanted to meet Mean Gene? I feel like Mean Gene would be sweet to get a drink with if you bring him a cocktail.
I really want to meet Mean Gene. I was thinking, I think I actually have met Conan before. I have not ever met Mean Gene.
I just listened. I love the stories that all the guys tell during the shoot interviews. Virgil is definitely booked, Frankie. So make sure you buy your tickets. It's at Mohegan Sun. So.
Oh, Frankie, you are wrong, by the way, about Asuka and Shinsuke, because Shinsuke is married to Harumi Makawa.
And who the hell is that?
No,
is that a wrestler?
No, apparently not from what I can see. They're just in love.
All right, let me finish my plug. Pro Wrestle Fest, Mohegan Sun. It's going down on March. What's the date? March 2nd, 2019. Get your tickets. Find out more information at Pro Wrestle Fest. Type it right in. All right, so from there, I don't know. I'm still baffled on the whole.
Oh, so who do you pick to win?
I'm really feeling you on the hometown hero, and
you're saying the Iconics.
I just don't know. I don't think they're over enough for that to really go down.
It's Iconics with 3 eyes.
With 3 eyes, like
it's Iconics.
That's like really iconic.
Because it's 2 of them, 2 eyes make a team.
I get it. 2 eyes don't make a team. There's no eye in team.
But 2 eyes make a team.
Oh, wow! Super sorry.
I make a team.
I'm gonna go with the Iconics for the hometown heat, but then I'm gonna go with what my original scenario, that they are going to turn Asuka heel, because it just makes sense. This is the beginning of the prelude to WrestleMania season, after we get after Royal Rumble, then the greatest Royal, and all right, we're done here. All right.
Which kind of speaking of which, did you hear what has already been spoiled by the future of the next greatest world's spectacular Royal Rumble?
What is that?
That the Saudis have offered the WWE $20 million to not only bring in The Rock, but to make him the heavyweight champion when he comes.
Why? Who are these people? Why? Why do they have to fuck with us like this?
What is so weird in my brain about all of this? I mean, apparently and I don't know what the prince's name is, and I apologize for that, seems to be a huge fan of wrestling. That's awesome. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But like, we've never, after that pay-per-view, we've never really heard any relevant connections out of it. Not really.
I know.
I mean, Braun won. They kind of mention it here and there. That title belt has never been seen again.
It'll be brought up, I don't know, in like a couple weeks when we go to the Crown Jewel, I bet, right? He's probably gonna.
And I'm so confused by the Crown Jewel. I don't know if I know we didn't have this conversation, but last night I was talking to somebody about it and was like, when you look at the logo, I think it looks rather effeminate, which is interesting because, right now the women can't compete.
They can't go there. Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, this is weird, because when I first saw the logo, before I realized that this was going to be in Saudi Arabia, I was like, oh, it's going to be a Queen of the Ring tournament.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not. They're going to have the WWE World Cup.
Which we haven't had since the Kuwait Cup in 1997, right?
Right.
Oh, geez. So it literally makes, this whole thing just doesn't make sense. Saudi Arabia, we really appreciate you, but
how about you give us money? We'll come in. We'll help you understand the world of professional wrestling and craft this in a way that makes sense. You don't have. I can't remember the random sumo wrestler who appeared to face off the Big Show, who had retired from wrestling.
It's like a Kuma or something like that, right?
It just made no sense.
Frankie, get on that right in the comments. But anyway, right. So at the same time,
Wikipedia, Frankie.
Yeah. Be our source here. What's it called? At the same time, though, Frankie made a good joke. He said they're making their WWE their very own 2K universe mode, and he says it's a Keem. No, it's not a Keem, right? Keem doesn't make sense. No. But anyway, what's it called? Where was I going with this? They basically Ronnie with the win. It was Aki Bono. Good job, Ronnie. Thank you so much for the contribution there.
Yay, Ronnie.
But basically, what they're doing is they're basically just they're getting carnied, right? These guys, if they're gonna throw out, let's be real, if these guys are gonna throw out $20 million for The Rock to show up there with the belt, of course, like WWE is gonna be like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. Because WWE is like 20 million. Oh, he's not going to do it until we get 25.
Right.
and they're basically, it's just gonna be, I don't know. Phil, you've done way more wrestling business than I've done, and I know that it salts you up so much. But at the same time, like I've had to play carny a little bit with my dealings in the wrestling industry. You've dealt with a bunch of people trying to play carny. I don't think that there's anybody that's going to be the best carnies in the carny industry than the number one company in the world. So of course these guys will be like, whatever you guys say, if you're going to give us $20 million, and we'll give The Rock fucking, I don't know, $1 million or something like that, you know?
Exactly. But if you think about it, there's kind of a couple aspects to this. They sold out that arena. They packed that place.
Right.
It brought in a new level of entertainment for Saudi Arabia. And if there's, after all of the horrible things that we didn't like about Impact Wrestling for a very long time, the good business thing they did was doing great business internationally.
Right.
And that kept them financially viable. And when you look at the WWE, and yes, it is very true that all broadcast and cable television is hitting, lower numbers in their ratings because of on-demand services. That's very true. It's out there. At the same time, the numbers are lower. That means the revenue streams are not going to be as high as they used to be to help support their costs. So what are the other ways to do that? Yes, on-demand platforms like the WWE Network. Well, having this direct fund coming into them is certainly a reward. It's going to benefit the WWE to continue to do business financially with Saudi Arabia. And, yes, WWE, of course, is getting all the criticism in the world because of the revolution that they've tried to do in women's sports, that they can't then bring any of the female talent into Saudi Arabia. But the WWE has also been verbalizing, when it gets to that point, we hope it does get to that point, we want to be on the forefront of that. So imagine it takes 4 years, 3 years to, say, even if they have to use we're an American company putting over American female talent, let us have this opportunity, do what they did. I think when they went to Qatar and they had, females were in full clothing, and you have the females out in that way, that then they're on the forefront of it. They're breaking new ground in that respect, that they're revolutionizing female talent in an area of the world that doesn't necessarily think of females and appreciate females in the same way that we do in other areas of the world, that they're going to be revolutionary.
Right.
So they're taking all this heat right now for what could be a great reward for even that later on. So financially,
do you know the publicity payoff that they're going to get once they get exactly what you're saying? Because that's where we're going. You know what I mean? WWE revolutionizes Saudi Arabia by allowing their competitors to be the first international women to come there and be sexy. So it's literally going to be a mind-blowing occasion for them. And you're absolutely right. That's literally where they're gearing towards. And it's going to be that's going to be a worldwide thing. And that's something that no other company is going to be able to really, really have on them.
Exactly.
So, that being said, let's talk about a guys match.
So next up, we have for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships, The New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus, The Bar.
Oh man, New Day. All right. So how did we get here? What's the backstory here?
The Bar's the Bar. They're the place you set, and the New Day are champions.
The New Day, they're not from yesterday, right?
I know that wasn't at the last pay-per-view. I think they just beat the crap out of the New Day. I honestly haven't followed this storyline that much, other than the New Day are the champions, and so they want to be convincing champions. The Bar are out to get them because they're holding the titles. I feel that they're already planting the seeds of a separation between Cesaro and Sheamus, so I don't know if they would put the titles on them right now.
Yeah, I just watched a random clip from like an NXT show where Chris Hero and Cesaro came together and pulled off a couple old Kings of Wrestling tag team maneuvers together, and are we seeing those two get together now? Is this going to finally be Chris Hero coming up to the main roster?
I don't know if it'll be those two, but I feel like I've seen a lot of press on Cesaro singularly, and then I've seen like little video clips of Sheamus singularly. So it's like when you start driving your media and coverage of them as individuals, I think that is a little bit telling, that they're planting that seed already, that they're not a team.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. Maybe WWE is testing that water to see if people would be interested. Well, they're going to be interested in Cesaro, and I think Sheamus is going to be back where he was, where people had sort of fallen off, and that the Bar kind of saved where he was going, just like it kind of saved Cesaro, because WWE really didn't know what to do with him. So now maybe they do, or they have an idea. We'll see.
Well, I know, and the whole thing too was like, I thought that a year ago when we were in this position that we're at right now, everyone was saying, "Oh, Cesaro fucked his back up. He's retiring. Right. He's not going to be here past WrestleMania." And here we are 6 months later. So once again, Internet, thank you. Thank you for letting us know how much you know about what's going on back then. Because here we are. The guy's fine. And do they break up? I'm indifferent on the situation. I've always been a mark for the Kings of Wrestling, right? So I really would love it if the two of them got together. So do you think?
Or what if Cassius Ohno comes in? He's the third member of the Bar.
The Bar.
You have the American Bar Association.
Yeah, he leans his elbow on the bar.
Right, exactly.
Because
you have Cesaro and Sheamus doing Dragon Ball Fusion, and then in comes Cassius Ohno of like, I'm the American top.
Yeah. So the thing with me is that he's super talented. All right, we know this, right? Cassius Ohno. I called him Chris Hero before. Oh, sorry, so super sorry. But he's super talented. But fuck, does every move have to be an elbow to the face?
Yes.
Every single move,
or a cravat.
Yeah, or a lariat, right? A foot lariat. we'll call it here. Like every single move, it's a boot to the face. A Yakuza kick for all you smart marks watching and listening to this right now. But
Yakuza.
Yeah, but it's like that's it. It's like, oh, okay, what are you gonna do here? I'm gonna put him into a superplex position, but then I'm gonna superplex him, put him back on his feet, and elbow him in the head. Why? Why are you doing this? Why? It doesn't make any sense.
It shows off more.
Does it though? Does it really? He spins around and hits the guy with an elbow. I get it. You have a really strong elbow, bud. But does every single move?
Super spinny elbow thing.
Yeah. All right. So Phil.
Yes.
What do you want to do?
Oh, by the way, I picked New Day. Who do you pick?
Yeah, I'll go with New Day. Fine. Fuck those guys. But Phil, let's go. What do you want to do? We're gonna have a match. What do you want to do?
You and me?
Yeah. What do you want to do? What's your one spot that you want to do? Your really important spot.
I'm gonna throw elbow, follow with a Q kick.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't do that. You want to know why? Because I was thinking about for the finish, putting you into a power bomb, and then afterwards throwing you down onto your feet, and then I'm going to do a 360 and hit you with an elbow. How about that?
Yay!
Every single move in his... I hate it. I'm sorry. I hate it. I don't like it. That's it.
Sorry, I'm hearing noises from the next room.
Okay. All right. What do we got next? So should we take a break? What do you think?
Maybe one more and then take a break, because there are 10 total matches and we've only gone through 3.
Oh my gosh, we need to do more of these shows so that we can not have so much interruption banter. All right, keep going.
So whenever we have the Super World's Greatest whatever, we need like
the Super World's Greatest Survivor Series is coming up next.
So next up for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, we have champion Cedric Alexander, versus Buddy Murphy. Also an Australian native.
Buddy Murphy's from Australia? Really?
Yes, he is.
So I was thinking about this the other day when I was laying in bed. And I know this sounds crazy that I think about wrestling when I'm laying in bed and I can't fall asleep. But we have Buddy Murphy over here on 205 Live. Looks fucking phenomenal. They're keeping him obviously away from Alexa because, you know, the two of them used to have a personal relationship and they've broken up. And then we have someone that looks exactly like him on Monday Night Raw in Curtis Hawkins, right? Kurt Hawkins. Mm-hmm. And it's ironic to me because the thing is that they have them completely different in that sense where Buddy Murphy is doing really great, right? He's definitely having fantastic matches and he's kind of on a win streak right now, isn't he? Compared to Kurt Hawkins, who's got the biggest losing streak, which I really love this gimmick with him. Like, I just watched like a WWE vignette on him where, not a vignette, but you know, basically a movie where they've tracked him where he keeps thinking he's gonna go over and stuff like that, and he doesn't, and he's gonna end up going over, and it's gonna be huge. I'm not thinking WrestleMania, or maybe even he goes over in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal if they do that, but there's something big that they're doing with Kurt Hawkins, and the guy deserves it. He's a very good guy. He's been on the indies with us, as we know, but but I don't know. But it's just funny how similar their looks are right now and how they're going really with Buddy and they're not going with him. But who do you think's going over in this match?
I'm kind of right where you're at. I think they're going to go Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go because he's kind of been their homegrown guy. You can kind of tell he's got the little bit of the Triple H, throwing the dust on it sort of deal. Hey. Yeah, he's right underneath Cashizona's bar, basically. Right. so yeah, I'm gonna go with Buddy Murphy. I think Cedric's a great athlete at the same time. It's just not all the way there.
So, and by the way, as far as I can see, Buddy and Alexa are still engaged.
Oh, I heard they broke up even a while ago. Your Wikipedia needs to update.
As recent as July, they were still together.
They're keeping them off the same show, though.
Well, that's intentional. I mean, think about it. Do you want it so publicly known that Alexa is off the table? Do you want it so publicly known that Buddy Murphy's off the table?
Yeah, but anybody like us that has a freaking keyboard can see whatever. But the last I read a while ago when I was, checking out Alexa was definitely that she definitely was on the table again. She wasn't off the table. So I'm pretty certain that they had broken up.
Chelsea, did you want to take a break or do you want to go on to the next match?
Let's go on to the next match. Take a 1 minute break and then we'll jump right back into it.
Then we will jump into the 6-women tag team match between the Bella Twins, Bria Nikki, and Ronda Rousey versus the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan.
Gosh, shoot me in the face, why don't you? Oh, that was live. Wow. This is live on the internet. Oh, you want that?
Wow.
Gosh, what is there to say about this one? So
shoot you in the face or kick you in the face.
Oh, I love it. I literally love it because let's face it. Did everyone see that? Did everybody that's watching this or listening to this on Spotify?
They talked about it this week on Raw. I couldn't believe it.
What did they say?
They really only it was like a slight hit just to sort of be like, yeah, internet, we know you made it a thing, but then dropped it. Yeah, you saw last week that Liv Morgan got kicked out by a kick in the face, and it moved on. That was sort of it.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, you mentioned it, which I was surprised that they would. At the same time, I don't.
Well, she got hurt. That was the whole thing, right? Didn't she get hurt? Did she
Yeah,
get a concussion?
medically, I mean, she got knocked out, so medically it is an issue.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, people, went so far after the Bellas and where they're at, and, people's feelings about them. At the same time, injuries happen. I have 2 screws in this and a metal plate in my neck. The injuries and things happen inside of the world of professional wrestling. I'm not saying, that I'm not saying anything. If anything, I just think in that moment, you can see it, the aftermath. I think she panicked a little bit and wasn't quite sure what to do.
Are we talking about Liv or Brie?
Brie. Because Liv was knocked out.
Yeah. The whole thing is that it's one of those deals where we look at it and I look at it like this was bound to happen, right? Brie definitely shouldn't be throwing kicks like that unless her husband taught her how to do it. But basically, she's not skilled the way that she is, and the Bellas don't wrestle the full-time schedule. You know what I mean? So it's like, why is this match even happening? Right? Hopefully this match will be the payoff from what happened, not this past Monday, but the Monday before that, and we get some real receipts. You know what I mean? I feel like it's been a long time since we've gotten some real nice, sexy receipts in wrestling. Yeah, I'm going there. It's fine. It's my show. where basically
he said it.
It was me. It was this guy right here.
Send your letters to the Monsanto Corporation.
I think that we need a solid man. If I wish it happened to JBL. I wish it happened to Rob Van Dam. I wish that one of those like Brie Bella had hit one of those guys. Not saying for the male, I just hope that Liv, I'm waiting for it. It's basically all I'm saying. I'm waiting for her to really dish it.
What's weird is when you watch the action on Raw, the Riot Squad are doing excellent promos, and seeing Ruby Riot in person in action in the past, I hate to say it, that was not one of her strong points. And now, hitting it out of the ballpark. The in-ring performance, the story of in-ring has constantly been the Bellas and Rousey are in full control. There is never a moment of opportunity for the Riot Squad that is convincing inside of the in-ring action. This last week, I totally expected, a lot of interference in the matchup, and there just wasn't. So I don't, in my brain, there is no convincing way that they have told the story in the ring that the Riot Squad has what it takes to beat the Bellas and Rousey. So I'm going Bellas and Rousey.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's they're the biggest stars in the company and everything like that.
Exactly.
But at the same time, with Ruby too, did you see the thing where they tried to do the it's not the wheelbarrow. What's the spot where she grabs the legs and then she rolls back or whatever, and then the other girl comes up and she hits the turnbuckle. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of it.
So they did that, and freaking Brie did that with somebody, or something happened, and basically Ruby Riott got punched in the face, like hard in the same match, and Ruby just completely no-sold and just went in the ring and just gave her a little bit, but shit, it was more just it's more just can you imagine? And I'm taking the perspective of the Ruby Riots and everything, and the Livs and everything like that. Can you imagine working 360, or I bet it's less days a year, but going, basically saying you're working full time, and then all of a sudden you get these two that haven't been really in the ring. Brie a lot more than Nikki in the past couple months, but you get these two coming in, and not only are they taking your spot, but also they're fucking your face up at the same time, right? And man, I would be super pissed. I would be absolutely pissed as that's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna go with you and say that Ronda and we haven't even touched on Ronda. Like Ronda's started working Raw and everything like that. She's
Right.
And I feel like that does take away from her whole deal, right? You know what I mean, of her being where she's been and everything like that. But I'm happy to see that she's even working matches on Raw now, But man, I just feel bad for the other team here. The what's the name of their team?
The Riot Squad?
The Riot Squad. I feel bad for the Riot Squad in the sense that they should, maybe they deserve a little better in this sense because they're not winning. There's no way they're winning this match.
But hopefully out of this, not in this contest, but out of this, they may have an opportunity down the road because they worked and kept working with the Bellas and Ronda.
Maybe in a year, but it's not going to be in the next 6 months because where are we going? In the next 6 months, we're going to WrestleMania. So who's that going to be? That's going to be built for one of these guys. You know what I mean? It just sucks. I feel bad for him a little bit. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick little break and
pick then to win.
What?
Who did you pick then to win?
I went with you. I went with Ronda and the Bellas. But
Gotcha.
We'll take a quick little break and we'll be right back.
Babe, what shirt are you wearing?
My Tim Zabriskie Show shirt.
Huh, that was really weird. There was supposed to be a second commercial that played there, but apparently I'll screw myself on that. The Tim Zabriskie Show shirt. Phil, are you wearing the shirt? Oh, you dog. You dirty dog. Hold on, let me grab one. For crying out loud. I gave you one job today.
I right before I did this, I was actually doing yard work and I changed to come on the show, and the first shirt I grabbed was another podcast.
The Tim Zabriskie Show shirt.
Yay, Tim Zabriskie! I'm totally wearing that shirt. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Cover yourself. Your other logo is showing. The Tim Zabriskie Show shirt, $10, made by Green Mountain Prints and Dyes. Direct message me for sizing. It's $10 plus shipping and handling. And we'll go over it. They're sweet. I love mine. Do you love yours? Because you're clearly wearing it.
I'm not putting over whose shirt I'm wearing. Sorry. It's not like we planned this. You're not wearing this shirt.
I know. I told you I wore it last time. But it's fine. Don't even worry about it. All right. So what is the next match that we got going on?
The next match we have is The Shield. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre.
Oh, do you know what the name of their group is? Because I saw it before and I thought it was shit. What are they calling themselves? It's the where is it? It's right here. The Dogs of War.
Yes.
How horrible! It's like.
Well, I'm not overly opposed to the name, but it's so close to the things that Roman Reigns does. Like,
because he's the big dog.
This is my yard. I'm the big dog.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, no, it literally makes no sense, and I hate it. The Dogs of War. When you think of a pretty boy, like Dolph Ziggler, do you consider him to be a dog? No. He's definitely not a dog. Even Drew McIntyre, since he's come back, he definitely doesn't. He looks 10 times better. I don't consider him to be a dog of war. You know what I mean? And the only one that fits that bill really is Braun, but he literally could be anything. What was Braun's catchphrase for a while? Or his description for himself? What were they calling him?
They were calling him something like, not the monster, but the
monster among men, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if they were to go with like the monster and his men, right? That would be better. It's a little on the gay side, but at the same time, wow. Oh, was that too much? Wow. I just love how you shake your head when I kind of go that way.
Cross that line, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like the Dogs of War. How horrible of a name is that? You know, it's not. I mean, they're not coming out in camo. You know,
they haven't packaged it in that way. I mean, I can see. Okay, Drew McIntyre is a soldier. Braun Strowman is the Beast. You can say that Dolph is the tactician. He's the mastermind pulling it all together. But Braun is the one talking. So it's like, so Braun's the mastermind?
That's what's weird too. Like Braun, Braun's got a great voice. Braun is a money. Like right. we know this. He's 100%. Dolph is right. All three of those guys are 100%. Drew, yeah, he could talk a little bit more, right? But at the same time, like I don't get where. Could you imagine if, like, let's say Braun was just a manager and he's doing all the talking? They need a mouthpiece, is what they really need. They need somebody like a Paul Heyman, like a Bobby Heenan, or even bring back Jimmy Hart or what's his name? Paul Ellen, what's
Ellering?
Ellering. Wow, this Coke I'm having is working. Well, you don't like Paul Ellering either?
How dare you? Hey, what? There you go. What if we have Leo Rush manage them too?
Oh my gosh, Leo Rush. Later, basically. But all right, so we have the Shield. Now they're also pushing, going back to this, they're also pushing, they're trying to really work this whole, Dean Ambrose, how do you feel about your brothers and stuff like that? Like I don't know, it feels too forced to me, that whole part of the gimmick.
It's so weird. Ever since he came back, there's been so much just conversation from the internet. Like, I don't even think it came from a source. It was just the internet was like, wow, look at him now. He looks meaner. He's cut his hair off. Like, he looks bigger.
Well, he looks
he must be getting
jacked.
set for a heel run.
Yeah, he looks crazy jacked. And
I was like, why? Because he looks like this, that he's going to be doing a heel run. And he's always been off kilter. So why would you just make this assumption that now it's, it just didn't make sense to me. And it would be super weird for me if the WWE actually listened to what fans thought. So I can see him eventually doing a heel run. It always sort of made sense to me that he should have been the one that actually went heel versus Seth Rollins. But
right.
At the same time, or actually either of them made more sense to go heel than Seth Rollins did. Even though Seth, I think, was successful when he did it.
I think he did a great job. Yeah.
Right. I don't really think right now that they need to turn Dean heel. If anything, he's now the glue that's helping to get Roman over, and that's what they need.
I think it's the combination, as we said, a few months ago for the other biggest show of the year, putting them together was definitely the smartest move, especially right after putting the belt on Roman. You know what I mean?
World's greatest super show.
Yeah, the world's greatest super show compared to the last super show. But yeah, I don't think it makes any sense for them. They shouldn't have split up yet. It's too soon for them to split up. Give it a 6 months. Give it a year. You know what I mean? Right. We need to draw them out. They don't need to be in every single match together, but we need to keep them as friends for a little bit.
Now, with all that being said, I think either because of shenanigans, like I would not be shocked if we did see Brock Lesnar make an appearance. I would not be shocked in this match because at WWE Crown Jewel.
Yeah, has he even been on TV since Hell in a Cell? No.
I don't think he has.
So once again, what the hell was he doing there?
Right. So then I could totally see him come here because it would tease then their three-way that they're having between Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel. Or they're going to do some other shenanigans. Regardless of that, I don't know, because I feel like while on one side they need to do something to keep Roman Reigns on top, taking a win away from him right now isn't going to hurt him because he's in a 6-man. So I'm going to say Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre win.
Okay. Do you think that there's going to be shenanigans to why they win?
I think there's going to be something goofy, but I don't know if it'll cause the win or if we're going to see a Brock run in after the match.
Maybe we'll just hear Brock's music.
Like, right. Just that enough of a distraction.
Enough of it. Yeah. I'm going to go with that. I don't know. So have you been taking notes as who we both have been saying? Have we had more heels or more faces going over so far?
Let's see. You have what is Becky?
Becky's a heel right now. Face. Yeah, she's a heel.
All right. Heel, face. So you have 3 heels, 2 faces.
3 heels, 2 faces for you.
No, for you.
Oh, for me. And then what about you?
I have 2 faces. No, wait a minute. 3 faces, 2 heels.
3 faces, 2 heels. So I'm going to go with the Shield. I'm going with the Shield here.
Okay.
It just makes sense, you know? And then maybe afterwards, we'll get everything that we're talking about here with you with Brock comes down after, you know what I mean? Going into the next pay-per-view where everyone gets paid $1 billion to go except for the girls. They get 100,000 and told to shut up. but yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense to me. Now, any of you that are still watching, still paying attention to us right now, feel free to give us a call, 518-350-4312. Let us know who you have as the winners, or definitely comment on the videos that you see, and we'll take your opinions into consideration. All right, what do we got next?
Next up, let's see. Let's go. All right, let's go Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush and John Cena versus Elias and Kevin Owens.
All right, first off, I'm super happy the guy still has a job, Lio Rush, after everything that he did before with. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, figure it out for yourself, because we're not we're not going to go into it. Now, it's really weird how ESPN has covered Kevin Owens and Elias with their typical just heel stuff, talking about Seattle and the sports team and everything like that.
It was such a reaction.
Yeah, it's weird that you're yawning into the microphone at the same time too. I don't know.
Sorry, it's been a long day. It's not this. I'm trying to keep my energy up, baby.
We're almost done. But yeah, it's like
I'm gonna freeze in my Super Saiyan pose.
There it is.
I'm powering up.
But yeah, to me that's just a classic heel maneuver. You know what I mean? You go into a town, you talk crap about the town's local sports team, and
right.
You know, you get a couple boos, but not to the point that ESPN is just gonna make it like a huge deal. Like, yes, they got a huge reaction, but shit, when was the last time they were in Seattle? You know, it's
maybe that's it. Maybe it's been a minute since they've been in Seattle. I mean, do you remember there was a Northeast Indie wrestler named Tim Kilgore?
Yes, I am familiar. Yes.
And he used to literally go in and be like, "Hey, everybody, who's your town's or who's like your local high school's mascot?" And they would say it. They suck, like, and he would just like play with them like that. The fact that you know, this is nothing really different than Elias has ever done, and just that reaction was so loud that Kevin Owens is screaming into a microphone, and the camera and the television volume was matching the sound of the crowd.
Yeah,
like I was like, either the audio producer was really on that night and just opened up the crowd gain, or like it was just that genuinely loud. And the last time I heard the crowd that genuinely loud booing was for Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I think that it definitely was. I definitely just think it was the crowd. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's just certain things you can't fake as much as you really want to.
I totally didn't hit that screen on the mic.
No, it's fine. No, one of my favorite matches that I had with up in the middle of Vermont, and Phil, you'll agree with me. Any sort of show that's in the middle of nowhere is always the best sort of shows because there's not a lot going on. So everyone comes to the wrestling shows. You know what I mean? Now, there was a mascot for the local high school that was there. And this is, as I said, in the middle of Vermont. And the way that I got to establish that I was a heel was that the mascot that had been there all night, he waited for me at the entrance, and when he came out, like he gave me a hug, right? He basically rose my arms up. This is all on video. I'll post it later. But what he did was as soon as we finished hugging or embracing and he turned away, I gave him a back bitch hand to the face of the mask, and he fell like on the ground, and everyone that was there, like, you know, the 200 people, they lost their shit, and they basically just booed me out of the whole place, and the match didn't even happen. So then as soon as
awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome to the point that when I went over, it was just instant heat. It's definitely one of my favorite matches just for that one entrance that I just did on that one. But sorry to talk about old war stories there, but basically, yeah, like I don't even know. So how did these two teams kind of come together as far as everything like that?
I'll be honest, I missed the start of all of this, and I saw clips of last week when I think it was Bobby Lashley and Elias were going at it, and then here's Lio Rush like moving all around, jumping and flipping over everybody, like escaping everybody's grasp, and giving comeuppance to everybody, and like everybody going, "Oh my God, that's insane!" Because on Raw, he's not a wrestler; he's a manager,
right?
And they've not seen that from managers, and let alone on the cruiserweights, that kind of level of athleticism in that respect. So to see that, and to see somebody who has some charisma, who can also cut great promos on a microphone, they're into what Leo's doing, even though Lio is heel and Bobby and Cena are face.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is what it is. But this week on Raw, then it backfired. Lio wasn't able to capitalize. They beat down Bobby. They beat down Lio. No John Cena. And now John Cena is going to be their partner. So I kind of
wait. So is it Lio and Bobby that are teaming up, or is it Bobby and John Cena?
It's Bobby and John Cena, but Lio is certainly in their corner.
Interesting. It's very interesting. It's great that John Cena is still showing up at the Super Duper shows. But I don't know, what is there any old interaction between Bobby Lashley and John Cena from like 10 years ago that we know of?
Maybe there was, but there's nothing that's immediately coming to mind. I'm sure there had to be.
Yeah, because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, we'll just throw John in there.
Right.
Which is awkward too, because him and Nikki this will probably be in the first time that they're in the same building together, right?
Publicly, maybe, I don't know.
It's all a work. They're married.
I keep wondering that too. Like, and again, we're only saying this because we've been in wrestling for so long, and we're like, we don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, we deal with fucking carnies every day.
Right. So it's like, are we being, are they trying to pull the rug over our eyes, and really they're still in a relationship? We're going to find out 15 years from now, like, we were secretly married and we hid it from everybody forever.
Yeah, like it's almost as if like maybe they're going to have a super showdown. You know what I mean? Like that tag match with the girls, John Cena's going to come down and they're going to have a moment in the aisle, right?
Right.
And then she's going to walk away and he's going to continue to the ring. And then we're all going to be like, this is a fucking work. That's it.
I mean, their engagement was a work, like in the middle of WrestleMania.
The worst.
That everybody knew was coming 3 months in advance that they pre-filmed segments on Total Divas months before about it all happening.
Exactly.
It's like, come on, guys.
It was almost as bad as and I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. It was almost as bad as Shooter Storm's engagement that he did at this indie show. Oh, you didn't see that one? Oh, okay.
No,
I'll send it to you. If anyone's watching this far into the show, then
you're in deep.
Oh, I'm super in deep. But yeah, oh my god, it was so horrible. I'm almost drunk enough to where I'll even play it right now. But
no, we're getting through the show.
No, you're like I just want to get out of here. All right. So
Bobby Lashley, John Cena versus Elias and Kevin Owens. Who do you pick?
Man, I'm gonna lose on this one later on, but I'm gonna go with Elias and Kevin Owens because if anyone needs it, it's those two right now.
Good. I'm glad you picked them because I'm totally going Bobby Lashley and John Cena.
Yeah, I know you were. You felt like winning on this one. Is that why?
because Cena's coming back.
Who
beat Cena?
Maybe at Crown Jewel. We'll just get Cena and Bobby Lashley, and then.
If they do World Cup the way my brain is starting to process it, they're going to put all of these little feuds in the first round matches, and then they build into their second round matches, and then the final, because WWE doesn't know necessarily how to plan all that well sometimes, that the final is going to be this hodgepodge of just two random guys.
It almost sounded like you were going to say World Cup rules right there. And I'm like, oh, well, what are these?
Cup rules. It's going to be exclusive on MTV.
Oh, let me get my hand lotion as I rub my hands like this. Oh, yeah. Don't give me that look like I'm being a weirdo or anything like that. All right. All right. What do we got? What's next?
Next up, we have to name a number one contender for the WWE Championship, Daniel Bryan versus The Miz.
Ooh, so we have a little stipulation with these guys. What'd you think of their last match? Let's start with that.
Well, that was the intergender tag match, right?
Yes. Because we had their match at SummerSlam. We talked about that. We both said that it should have been a lot more, right? Isn't that kind of where we were? Yeah.
I feel this is the match we're going to get a lot more, but because they kind of delayed it because they didn't know what was going to go on with Daniel Bryan's contract, I think now this is going to be kind of that singles match or more of that singles match that we really want to see, but I still don't think they're going to pull out all the stops. I think this is going to be like a 7 out of 10.
Do you think that yeah, I mean, do you really think that like, how much longer do you think that we can go with this? Is kind of what I'm
WrestleMania.
We're doing this match from August all the way to WrestleMania.
They've had a rivalry ever since Daniel Bryan stepped foot in the WWE. So what's that been? 7 years?
They've had a rivalry, but shit, like that's a long time of having a match on every single pay-per-view.
I mean, then on SmackDown, they fought for 2 years as Daniel Bryan as the general manager. I don't know if it was 2 years, a year and a half.
And what is the latest? I don't know if you know this, but is he signed? Is Bryan signed for?
Yes, he apparently did re-sign a contract.
Is it worth a lot of money? Do we know?
That I don't know. The rumor had been why he was not signed yet. It was due to him wanting more money.
Good. Finally, a smart businessman. I've been watching a lot of shoots lately, and I'm gonna sidetrack for a minute. I hope you're not salty about that. I've been watching a lot of shoots lately with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and everybody talking about Brett. And Brett basically, and you know how I feel about Brett. And if you don't know how I feel about Brett, I just think that he's a fucking mark. But basically, the whole thing with Brett is and how he literally didn't care how much he was getting paid as long as he had the belt and he was going to win every single night while he was the champion. To me, that was horrible for business. You know what I mean? That's why nobody progressed or anything like that. And I'm glad to hear that what you're saying about Daniel Bryan. How Daniel Bryan basically just, he was like, yeah, I want more money. Because that's the whole thing. Because how does it make it so that the guys that are underneath Daniel Bryan make more money unless Daniel Bryan is making more money and everything like that? Because you can't have you know, they would always call Brett the $400,000 a year champion, which to us as general folk are like, wow, that's a lot of money. But when we're looking at it in the grand scheme of things of Saudi Arabia giving us $250,000 or $250 million for The Rock to come back with the belt, like, yeah, no, if you're going to be the champion, you need to ask for a lot more money. So I'm glad to hear exactly what you're saying right there.
Right. So, I mean, I do and let me just to clarify, when I said that I thought this match was going to be a 7 out of 10, not that I thought quality wise that, you know, oh, it's going to be like getting a C in high school. It's going to be more like they're not going to put the gas pedal to the floor because they need to have room to continue to grow this. So I think you're going to see a solid match that ups the game just a little bit more than what we saw at SummerSlam, but it doesn't go full tilt because they're going to draw it out as long as they can.
Yeah, but going with that, we have the stipulation of who's going to be the number one championship or the number one contender for the champion. So it sounds to me that even though we're going to WrestleMania, in your eyes, right? Who do you think is going over? Because somebody's got to face the champion at Crown Jewel or at Survivor Series.
There's a huge part of me that wants to say, like, yes, Daniel Bryan will be the winner in this, but I think this is the match that we're going to see. I just think something twisted's going to happen. So I'm going to say The Miz.
And I almost want to agree with you there, just on the basis that, let's say The Miz wins here. The Miz wins the title against AJ Styles because, I don't know, Samoa Joe is not done with him yet, even though that's probably the next match that we're going to right after this because their storyline is amazing right now.
Right.
But at the same time, like what, does Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble and then we go to WrestleMania against the two of them? Like, is that kind of where we're looking at that?
I don't know if it's going to go that deep or if it's just going to stay like just the two of them for kind of all the way through WrestleMania, or like they'll do where they've done it where, you know, maybe after Survivor Series, they take a few months off and then Royal Rumble, they meet each other in the Royal Rumble. It flares up again. That next random pay-per-view, they have a thing that leads them back into WrestleMania. You know, so
my confusion with what you were saying before then is when you said that this is going all the way to WrestleMania, I thought we were talking about every single month. So you're kind of saying that we're gonna have a little grace period where they separate from each other.
Something where they'll add another dynamic, or there's a third party, or and if one of them is going to get the number one contendership out of this, then that person's going to go on to have this number one contendership moment, and whether or not it's successful, if it's Daniel Bryan, maybe the Miz will get involved and cheat, or Daniel Bryan will be like, congratulations Miz, you deserve whatever, you're full of yourself, but you were the better man, and then they walk away and then come back later when they have some kind of issue with each other. This is the match also that I think could be twisted. Because even though because I think there's a lot of people thinking Daniel Bryan's going to win in this because Daniel Bryan's Daniel Bryan. He just re-signed his contract. At the same time, I think this is the one where you could totally see Daniel Bryan's beaten up in the back. He's unconscious. Nobody knows what happened, and the Miz is the only one standing in the ring.
Okay, so once again we get another screwy finish. It's basically what you're going at. But
so I think the Miz is going to win.
Okay, well I'm probably going to agree with you here because I don't know. I feel like, as you can see, I'm really kind of going with the heels on this show. But yeah, I can definitely see the Miz kind of going over here, and just because, like, who's face AJ gonna face at the next pay-per-view? You know what I mean? If it's not gonna be Samoa, you know what I mean? Or you could go the other way, and I would pop super hard if it was Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe at the next pay-per-view. And even if
I mean, even Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles.
Yeah. I don't know. Now the possibilities in my mind are like, whew, like what is going to happen here? Because this is going to be super crazy. But I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with the Miz with you as well. And just say that, you know what I mean? Even if Daniel Bryan screws over the Miz at Survivor Series, like to where he can't actually win the title, you know what I mean? Why are you giving me those devilish eyes? What's the deal? Yeah, you're like,
I'm making faces because I was staying. I need to stay awake. I was like, yes, I'm awake. So speaking of what's coming next, then It's AJ Styles for the current reigning WWE champion against Samoa Joe in a no count out, no disqualification match.
All right. So basically, do you know a lot about this angle so far?
I mean, Samoa Joe has, been for now, 2.5 months, been implying that he's been having a secret relationship with AJ Styles' wife, questioning the parentage of AJ Styles' son, appearing. They were supposed to have a contract signing in the ring. AJ's in the ring with Paige, and Samoa Joe is live via satellite several states away in Colorado, where Samoa Joe is ringing AJ Styles' doorbell.
So yeah, this is what I always consider, like, I love it when two friends that get it, like, will do an angle together, right? Like, think about, like, when Shawn and Nash would do something, or Shawn and Triple H, and I don't know why I keep going back to Shawn, but even Shawn and Razor, but like
they were friends. They knew each other. They
knew each other, and they respected each other enough to let's push this a little bit more. That way, this gets over a little bit more. So even when Samoa Joe is showing up at AJ Styles' house and saying, "Hey, like here I am, like, oh, I'm stalking your wife," you know what I mean? Like, that just brings that element of like, ooh, this is sweet. You know what I mean? Especially in today's day and age where everybody's got to be PG and everybody's got to be super happy and everything like that. But these guys have clearly known each other, even back to the Ring of Honor days of, 15 years ago at this point? You know what I mean? To where they have enough trust with each other, like, let's make this angle super sweet.
Yes.
So that's why we're getting this quality television, you know what I mean, on Tuesday nights now, because of these guys. So that being said, where do you see this going?
I'm hard pressed for this because I do feel like there's a lot to be said for Samoa Joe getting this the championship at this point. Being a no count out, no disqualification match, you could say it's all in the favor of Samoa Joe. I really think they're going to keep it on AJ only for the fact that they're not having this match in the United States.
Yeah, but that being the element of where, oh, well, it didn't happen in the United States is totally fine. You know what I mean? But then with that too, it's like we're going to have the rematch clause and everything like that unless... Right. But then with the rematch clause, that complicates things with the match that we just talked about between Daniel Bryan and The Miz.
Well, we've seen it before in other pay-per-views where were very similar situations. Somebody else has won the number one contendership, and they don't get it. It's a three-way dance. And I think this tells that story as well. Whether it's, oh my gosh, could you Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe, or even if it is The Miz walking in there, like I think. Because The Miz has his own storyline in WWE, because this has happened to him before. He's gotten the number one contendership where he's earned the right for a title shot, and then suddenly he's not the only contender. It's 3 people, 4 people. And so I can totally see that this is not in his favor either. So I'm still going to say AJ Styles, but I'm very close to changing my mind on that. What do you think? I'm
going to go oppose you on this one. I'm definitely going to go with Samoa Joe here. I think that it's his time. You know what I mean? I think that it's going to be fun. But at the same time, I feel like AJ could win it Tuesday. You know what I mean? Just win it right back, right on TV, in some sort of thing, just to keep everything going. But because it's in Australia, it's something different and everything like that. But like it's just, I just love this idea because I don't have cable. I'm the worst. Boo, right? But basically, until you had pointed out to me that the Miz's match and the Miz and Daniel Bryan was for the number one contender, now it just, to me, I feel great about how many different possibilities we have going forward. So that being said, it just I'm going to go the opposite of you. I think that even if AJ wins on Tuesday or in the next coming months to the Crown Jewel match, I think that it's his time to win the belt. Basically, where I'm going with that.
No, I think I can see that. I can totally understand that. So our main event, and let's face it, like I've gone back and forth on this, the main event is going to be Triple H versus The Undertaker. Triple H with Shawn Michaels in his corner versus The Undertaker with Kane in his corner. for several reasons, for the respect of the two gentlemen, I understand why this would be the main event. For the visual aspect of what we're going to see, this should not be anywhere near being the main event.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you run the company, essentially, right? You essentially run the company. You get to have the main event of the show. When you've been in the business of, or not the business, because he's been in the business longer, but when you've been with this one company since 1989, and here we are almost 2019, you get to be in the main event of the show, right?
Right. And for that aspect, I completely understand. I can totally see it. Maybe this was could have this been the condition of which he agreed to come back? I don't know, but at the same time, I just visually don't. I'm not expecting the spectacle. I'm not expecting a 20-minute match. I'm expecting this is going to go 6 minutes.
Yeah,
8 minutes.
So, and just to let everybody know that when Phil and I here, when we're calling the matches, there's no order to where the matches are on the card. Phil is basically, just he's pulling the matches out the way that he thinks it's gonna go, and typically, I would say almost 8 times out of 10, he's pretty spot on with that. Now, is this match going to be the main event? We don't know, but do we both see this as being the main event? Absolutely. That being said, if they do
change different,
exactly. So with that, if we're going 6 minutes on this match, and you're absolutely right, because who knows how much more the dead man's heart can take. And I said it, called him the dead man in that sentence for a specific reason. But here we go. He was pretty impressive at WrestleMania, though, right? He lasted, like 2.5 minutes? But
I was going to say, they kept it short, they kept it tight. It was exactly what needed to happen.
Exactly what to do. And these guys are smart. You know what I mean? Number one company in the world.
And there's a whole lot of other pieces that I think are moving behind the scenes for this. Kane's in the corner of the Undertaker. He's not returning as Kane. He's
the mayor of Knox County.
No. For crying out loud, right? Of Knox County. Excuse me. And they've had this rivalry now. They've added Shawn Michaels. There's all this speculation that Shawn Michaels is going to return for one last match or maybe a series of matches. We'll see.
Yeah. I wanted to address those rumors too, because did you hear? He's being offered $750,000 to $1 million to return at Crown Jewel in this tag team match. Like, I was telling a coworker of mine, again. I was telling a coworker of mine, a female coworker, who apparently is a huge wrestling fan, a huge Shawn Michaels fan, and I said, I swear to God, I wanted Shawn to be the one guy that didn't come back. Right.
And he addressed that. He even cut a promo, and part of this was when he was face-to-face with The Undertaker on Raw last week, or I can't remember if it was last week, the week before. No, week before last. He said something to the effect of, to The Undertaker, I've seen other people who've retired and they've come back. And I've always said I would not be the person who came back. And a lot of that was to do with the respect for you, because you retired one of the greatest men I ever looked up to, which was Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. Or no, I retired Ric Flair. You've retired me, and I thought it was a great show of respect to you that I didn't come back and wrestle again, because I've certainly been offered to. And so they've kept that alive as part of it. So it almost, I think, if they turn this into at Crown Jewel, that let's say it's Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker and Kane. If that's the direction they're going to go, then it makes sense from a storyline perspective, where The Undertaker gets so mad at something Shawn Michaels does to be like, and I don't care, I want you. If The Undertaker takes it upon himself to say, I want you, Shawn Michaels, in that ring. Well, now that takes away that aspect of Shawn Michaels feeling like he's disrespecting The Undertaker. Now it's The Undertaker wanting to have this fight.
Yeah, and I get it, but it's just so nuts. Like I just am baffled, just even by the quote unquote offer. But on a storyline aspect, yeah, like they're gonna figure it out. and they're even if they're just like I want to put you down like for good, like I'm gonna murder you, Undertaker. Is that Undertaker? Is that what you're saying? You just want to murder the guy now because you're so mad at him?
Casket match.
Yeah, but and when you look at Sean, you like, I was always part of me. There was a small part of me that was just like, you know what, he's not coming back. You know what I mean? They're all working us right now on the internet, but
which is very possible too.
I felt that way until we looked at him on Monday. Did you see how jacked he was? Did you see him taking bumps in that ring when Kane chokeslammed him? He's ready.
He shaved his head. He shaved his head.
He shaved his head. Oh my gosh! You know what I was trying to do? I was gonna go to Walmart today and get one of those Woolly Willy toys, you know, with the magnets where you color it on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was gonna take Sean's face and just put it on there and then just do it, but I didn't have enough time. And also apparently you can't even really cut into those things. It's like a process from what it said, but
gotcha.
Maybe I'll do it for later. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Triple H versus The Undertaker for the last time, but I'm going to go with when they said that The Rock versus Cena was one time only. It's the same sort of deal. This is never going to end until they're both in a wheelchair, basically.
And kind of with that aspect too, you know, there's a lot of other things that are sort of in the air right now. So it's, you know, Triple H certainly is not putting it out there that he's near being done as an in-ring talent.
He's not going anywhere.
Right. So that's one of the reasons, you know, I'm thinking Triple H is going to win. The whole concept of what could happen next, especially with Shawn Michaels, I think he's going to, like I said, cause something where Undertaker's like, hey, Shawn, I want you now. I think that's another reason why we're going to see Triple H win. I also think what's weird in the ether, if they need like some other kind of impetus for this, there's been so much conversation about the possible return of Hulk Hogan. And that
in this whole debacle?
Do what?
In this whole debacle, really?
Possibly, because then there's a way to sort of mask him in a respect where he's lost inside of these four other talents, as opposed to being there singularly by himself and still having now to, all the comments he made in the past, how racist he may or may not be even still, and that they can kind of hide the news of some of that inside of the four other talents that are surrounding him.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially. And again, if it's the possibility that Saudi Arabia is saying, we want this huge, big thing, is maybe Hulk Hogan's the next big thing. This Hulk Hogan guy. I don't know. And I'm only saying that very, very
well. It makes. I do agree with you. Like, it makes sense with where he, with their positioning of when did they announce him that he was back in the Hall of Fame? In the middle of July, right? Like
something like that. July,
totally,
August, yeah.
Totally fine. And they'd already been doing the planning for all of this stuff. You know what I mean? Greg wants to know if Australia gets their own championship as well.
Oh, there you go. We'll get an Australia belt somehow. It'll be upside down.
Exactly. Oh, I like that.
Wow.
Anyway, so
I do have my moments.
You do. All right. So I don't even know. Like, where do we go from here? Who do you pick? To me, I'm gonna go with a no contest. I know we never really pull a no contest on this show, but basically, I think that it's just gonna be the build up, because if we're already rumoring the tag match, like why would we have one significant winner over the next one? You know,
that is true.
To me, that doesn't make any sense to do it. So Kane, The Undertaker get involved. The referee sees everybody's down, and he just says, "Fuck it."
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I mean, I can see that. I can totally see that. But again, I do think whatever it is, Shawn Michaels will be the impetus. I think he's gonna cost it. If it's a no DQ, maybe it's he goes to super kick Kane. Kane moves out of the way. He hits Triple H. Undertaker does something. Or some order of weird things that happen that everybody's down.
See, I don't like that idea because that doesn't set up a tag match between the two of them, or the four of them, excuse me, like with the brothers and the DX. Because to me, that would make it seem like, oh, now Triple H is gonna fucking come after Shawn, right? To me, that like the way that it would kind of really go, that makes sense, would be, I don't know, Shawn.
Maybe it's something like you think Kane's going to do something. Triple H proactively attacks Kane while the ref is busy, admonishing Triple H for going after Kane. Here comes Triple H and Shawn Michaels comes in and super kicks the Undertaker. Triple H comes back in, pins the Undertaker, or does a pedigree and pins him.
I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that still makes me wonder, like, because they're all right. Let's be real; these guys are smart. They're geniuses in that sense. The way that they book this. So, like, as we're trying to predict this, and it's like now I'm excited to see what happens on Saturday at 4:00 in the morning.
On Super Showdown.
Oh, super! Do we need it? We need it.
Super Showdown.
Not bad, right?
That was good.
Damn.
Anyway, all right. So who do you actually have as a winner then? Because I'm going no contest. Who did you actually pick?
I'm saying Triple H.
Triple H is going over. I don't know. That match is super hard to pick. Now, what the hell is that?
That was what I was writing all the results on.
Oh, okay. That being said, before we actually get to Crown Jewel, because we've been talking about Crown Jewel a lot, the next show that we have coming up in a couple weeks is WWE Evolution. Now, are you excited for WWE Evolution?
I want to see the rest of what they put together for the card. And what I thought they were doing really well, that I hope they don't lose sight of, is when we had WrestleMania, the world's greatest Royal Rumble, and whatever that next pay-per-view was, they sort of jumbled everything together. I think everything was just too close together, and they had never really done that much to try to do those big shows so compactly. This time I thought heading into SummerSlam, as they started to talk about this, that they were separating everybody. That you had, you knew Triple H and Undertaker were heading to Super Showdown, but they weren't involved in SummerSlam. You knew that at the same time, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe were having, going through the things that they were going through, but they were focused on the next pay-per-view. For Evolution, they've kind of dialed that back just a little bit so they can focus on this pay-per-view, but now it's going to ramp back up. So I think they've done really good to like have the separate storyline elements and where they're heading. Now that they're going to have an all-female pay-per-view, you're going to see the super ramp up for the females going into Evolution, and you're going to have the super ramp up for the guys who are going to go on to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so
it'll be just segmented.
It's gonna be really interesting. Do you think that they would devote like an hour to each, to the women, to the men in that sense?
They'll mix it up. I don't think it'll be a straight like between 8 and 9 it's the women, between 9 and 10 it's mid card, and between 10 and 11 it's the heavyweight. I just don't see it that way.
Exactly. So, as you know, Phil, I'm pretty good at kind of making some of these posters for our coverage of everything. You see that smirk that you just gave? That was fantastic, because I told you about this poster that I made for the Evolution pay-per-view yesterday. So in comparison, this is the one that I made for Super Showdown here, right?
I'm increasing my screen. I have to see it. I have to see it big.
This is the one that I just made for us here, right?
Okay.
For this show here, Super Showdown. Pretty fun. Took Super WrestleMania, turned into Super Showdown. I don't know. I popped. Phil, if you didn't, I tried to tell you before, but you're the $1 Million Man up in the upper left-hand corner. But are you excited to see where we're at now for WWE Evolution?
Oh, so excited.
All right.
Slightly afraid.
So let's get ready to show you exactly where we are at, and here we go, Phil. Oh, so WWE Evolution is coming up in about 3 more weeks, and Phil, basically, I don't know. Do you remember how long it's been since Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe had their interspecies hardcore title match? And then, of course, I had to put the Evolution logo on there because why not, right?
Right. I don't know who that and who. So whose picture am I? Am I?
You're Pat Patterson in this
I'm
one.
Pat Patterson.
The whole thing was that I was really hoping that
it's like friggin' Mae Young.
Exactly. Like the whole thing was that I just like I originally put you on Briscoe, but I was like, he looks better with the blonde than he does with the brunette hair. But Phil,
I do have a blonde wig.
Oh, do you? Maybe we'll have to. I'll find
it. Not as luxurious as that.
You know, we'll have a conversation about this later. We'll figure out if it's a good idea if we wear wigs as we go over the Evolution pay-per-view coming up in a couple weeks. But that being said, Phil, let the people know where you're going to be in the next coming weeks before we have the next show.
You can see me at MCW Pro Wrestling on October 6th. That's this Saturday, if you're watching this live, at the Galena Volunteer Fire Department in Galena, Maryland. That's mcwprowrestling.com. You can also check me out in 2 weeks at Wrestling Revolver in Des Moines, Iowa. Go to prowrestlingrevolver.com. The next day, I'll be in Knoxville, Tennessee for Bandit Wrestling. So check it out. So mcwprowrestling.com. prowrestlingrevolver.com, and look for Bandit Wrestling on Facebook.
Sounds good. Phil, thank you so much for popping by. And to everybody else that has been sticking around watching the show, even if you caught like 30 seconds of the show, I love you to pieces. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you share this video. Definitely go ahead and check out our YouTube page, because this same video is being streamed at 1080p at 60 frames per second. You know, the highest quality that we can get you without interrupting anywhere else. If you're watching this on Twitter, you know I love you to pieces too. And make sure you follow me at Timmy Zabriskie, ZABRISKIE, and Phil at PS Phenom. But besides that, we're basically done here, and thank you so much for popping by. Oh, The Undertaker. You guys got a great theme song. Talk to you soon. Catch me outside. How about that?